We are back again, and we are going to be answering your questions. So get your questions in there. But before we do that, we'll have a little yarn and see how everybody is and what games people have been playing and things like that. Barry, what games haven't you been playing?
What haven't I been playing? I don't know, actually, to be honest. Well, I would say it's probably easier to list what I've not been playing, but God. So I've done Boosteroid. I over the weekend I actually stuck quite a bit of time into some Genshin Impact. Non-cloud, I've done some what was it called? Returnal on PS5 in the new tiers. I've done a little bit of Turtles on Xbox, and I also bought the Castlevania Anniversary Collection for Steam.
So just a wee bit of gaming done, just a wee bit.
Just a tiny bit.
Yes. What have I been playing? I've been playing my usual nonsense. I've been playing some Stadia Pro. I have been diving into various Assassin's Creeds, depending which ones I'm wanting to play at the time. And yeah, I've been my usual flittering about the place, not playing a lot. Or playing a lot, but lots of wee snippets of... That's how I play. I play lots of wee bits here and there. So, yeah. See, we've got a bit of chat about Boosteroid, and yeah, so we'll cover into that. If you have any questions, I can say this one because I've already announced it already. We are speaking to Boosteroid again very shortly, so if you want any questions, just drop them in there. There's some questions they can't answer, so I'm just going to be honest with you there. But yeah, it's Boosteroid. Let me see. 4K 120 has been mentioned here. I was not expecting that when I was doing that. What about you?
I did. You know what? When I watched the interview after you'd done it, I kind of, from a sheer gamer's perspective, and I think I said this to you actually, I was sat listening to Vlad talking, and I was sat listening to the interview with a smile on my face. I was like, keep going, just keep telling us, like, keep announcing things, because it felt like he'd like put a little bit in there. It just, as that interview went on, it was like, yeah, well, we're doing this, and we're doing this, and we're doing this, and we're doing this, and then like he kind of got to the stage about 4K, and it was just like talked about it casually, like, yeah, we're doing 4K 120 and beyond type thing, and you were like it wasn't even a thing. He's just smoothed over it, carried on. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was really, really mad that I do know some of the topics I'm going to be speaking to about them when we do the interview next, and I'm telling you, people are going to go, okay, then there is some real interesting stuff going to be coming out from that as well. Some people will be right in saying that some people are going to be really excited about it, and some people it's going to be meh.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. I think you'll yeah. That's the easiest way to say it without saying too much.
Yeah, some people get really excited. Some people say that's not going to be for me, but there is some good stuff coming there. Let me see. We'll start off. Kamara's. Thank you for joining. I've got my clickies back.
Yeah, I've got your clickies back. Yeah.
And your mama knows. Thank you for joining. Liam, thank you for joining. Shadow Dark, thank you for joining. And I am well.
Yes,
are you well,
indeed.
Barry?
I am well. I'm slightly tired, but I'm well.
Yep. Zero, thank you for joining. Yeah. Shadow, what I was sort of saying with that earlier, I wasn't expecting anything. I thought it was just going to be a general little chat about Boosteroid. I was not expecting any sort of announcements coming out from it. So that's why I'm going, okay.
And I think that continued actually when there was the little bit of after conversation when they were setting up with us the kind of the next sort of sit down with them and kind of just seeing in some of the things that they wanted to talk about. You just kind of like, I've just come out of that and then you still got this you want to talk about. So it was awesome.
Meister, we'll go with that. Thanks for joining. Let me see. Pluto Boy, thank you for joining. And here we go. Do you think they meant 4K resolutions and frames up to 120 to GFN now at lower resolutions, or do they mean 4K at 120, which will be difficult on modern hardware? The way this is the thing. Barry, I'll let you go, or do you want me to?
No, you go for it. You go first.
It all depends on the game. If you're talking Cyberpunk 4K 120, and that's why do we always go back to Cyberpunk?
I think it's unofficially the benchmark at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. 4K 120 FPS on Cyberpunk, I would say it's unlikely. 4K 120 on, I'm just trying to think of a different game.
Division 2.
The Division 2 could be possible. I think that's where we're going to see it. It's not going to be every game. I think it's going to be a range of games.
And that's what I was really intrigued by. And it's funny you touch on that because I don't know if it was just me, but what I took from what Vlad was saying was it's 4K 120 across the board. If it's in our library and we're going to be streaming it,
it'll be there.
It'll be there. And I was like, okay, interesting. It's a very bold statement. So it is interesting, like you were saying there. Are we going to find that maybe there are some nuances to what does run 4K 120 and what doesn't?
Yeah, we can definitely try and delve a bit deeper. I would say we'll probably get more info on that closer to the autumn time, because that's when it's going to be coming out. But yeah, for some of the plans they've got, they are going to need some serious horsepower there to get it to run. So interesting, and that's what I've got to say about that. And I can't wait actually to speak to them again. So you think it's going to be most games are going to be up in that?
Oh well, do you know what? I'm taking Vlad at his word.
Yeah.
I am genuinely. I'm really interested to see how they implement it, what reinforces it. You know, in terms of the back end, how are they controlling? You know, what's that raw power that's actually physically going to run it? What are they then doing to reduce stuff like latency in communication between GPU, CPU, between, you know, the switches and stuff in their data centers? How are they doing it? You know, I'd definitely be intrigued to see how it all pans out and how it works. And hopefully, you know, as you say, as we get closer to the time, we can have a little bit more information, and hopefully they'll be able to give us an explanation on exactly how they intend to do it and kind of what the architecture of their infrastructure looks like in order to achieve it.
Yep, it's nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah.
Adrian, will Brewster do something with users that have played 1 year of their plan now and want to upgrade to their new one? My reading from the interview was, yes, I think there's something in place for that. I think that if you do the full year, I think there'll be something like what GFN did. You get a discount off the upgraded tier or something along them lines. What do you think?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, they obviously want to deliver the power. They obviously realise that there might have to be an increased cost, but they certainly seem to be a door ajar there, that they want to do something for people that are locked in, that are trying to get in there for it. And they seem to be intimating as well that actually they don't really want it to be that much more expensive.
Yeah, because they're on the. Let me double check here. I should have all these stats and figures to the top of my head, but I'm just bringing up the price. The price is £15 a month, so that's just under what GFN's top tier is. So you would think maybe there shouldn't be too much of a change there.
Yeah, it will be interesting. It will be interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, it's all good fun. Again, everybody, just drop your questions in. We will try and answer as many as we can. There's some questions but we can't answer. So, or I can see one question we can't answer.
Indeed.
Yes.
I think, yeah, that's the easiest way to say that. Anything relating to potentially any embargoes or anything like that, we obviously can't talk about.
Yep. That's what we'll just will Dragon Ball Xenoverse be added to GFN? If that's the case, that would be great. I would say that is unlikely due to the publisher, because Namco ban.
I can never remember because they keep changing it, don't they? Because it was Bandai Namco, but I don't.
Yeah. I wouldn't be too hopeful on that one unless something changes.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. They'd need to physically make a new, they'd need to bring something into it in order to kind of make that happen. And I think certainly if they could do it in terms of games that they could bring, obviously, there's the request there for for Dragon Ball Xenoverse, but of course the other one that undoubtedly would be on the tip of people's tongues would be Elden Ring.
Yeah, which is available on Boosteroid.
Yes, indeed it is.
Okay, Anthony is being a little naughty, so we always know he's going to do that. What do you guys think about the death of GFN because of the birth of Boosteroid? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I am. No, do you know what? I am going to go first, and I am going to say that choice is good, and competition is healthy. So, it's. I think if you've looked at a lot of our, stuff, GFM wise, particularly late last year, very, very early this year, we were talking about what GeForce Now could do, what they maybe need to do this year, and the fact that, of course, they put themselves in the position where they drew a line in the sand and said, "This is this is the mark. This is what you have to beat." And obviously the competition have to play catch up. And here we are, the middle of 2022, and we are seeing services playing catch up and announcing things that put themselves in the same arena, as trying to achieve what GFN did with their announcements last year. I think the having options for people is brilliant. And if there's competition, even better, because you can bet your bottom dollar that if Boosteroid do all of this in the fall, GeForce Now are going to be looking at what they can do next.
Yeah, that is exactly where I was going to go. I think you heard me in the interview when that dropped. This is what I want. I want Boosteroid pushing, because if they're going to say we're going to be the number one PC gaming service, GFN are going to be going, no, we want to be, and then they'll throw down something, and then it'll be backwards and forwards. Competition is what you want. You don't want a couple of these companies just to be out there out in front by a country mile, and there goes my thing again, so we'll just knock that in the head. We're in the process of redecorating here, so everything's a bit up the left for me here tonight. What we do want is just the competition, because if more competition means more options for us, and means people are going to be fighting harder to get your money. With Boosteroid having these games, what they have, plus the upgrades coming, that is a really compelling offering. So GFN might have to do something, and if GFN do, circle.
Yep.
But no, I think Nvidia are going to rise to the challenge and try and do something with that. And we do know that the 40 series is due out, or there's the rumblings of the 40 series.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
So there's where that could go next. Oh, my expressions are meant. Oh dear. Thanks for joining. Do we think Boosteroid will lose games like GFN after it comes out from beta?
I mean, I think whilst it's not ideal, I think, and we might have even had this conversation recently actually, but I think for anything that's a subscription-based service, it's a possibility that you're going to see games rotate in and out or be available. It's probably just going to be a potential way of gaming. Obviously, with some subscriptions, it's easier to kind of take if it rolls out of a subscription, or at least it might become easier to take if it rolls out of a subscription. The difference, of course, with your Boosteroid and your GFN is the underpinning library essentially comes from Steam or Epic or a storefront of some variety. So you've always, whilst it's on and available through those platforms, you've got the access, or you've got the ability to access it. But I think it's perfectly plausible, and especially as acquisitions go on as well. There's the more acquisitions happen across the gaming industry, contracts and things will tighten up, and things might end up getting swallowed up with people that aren't cloud friendly or subscription friendly, and they might drop out. It's a possibility. I think the platforms and services will do whatever they can to make sure that that it's not happening. However, I don't think there's any guarantee.
Oh, I'm not sure if that was you or me waking up there. Oh,
I'm not sure.
No worries. For me, there's only one surefire of making sure that your games stay on a platform. As any of these ones which are subscription based is probably the wrong term. It's the ones without a storefront. So you're talking your xCloud, your PlayStation Now ones, or xCloud at the moment. We know that's coming later down the line, where games will disappear and rotate out. And I think that's going to be the same for GFN and Boosteroid. But what we've seen with GFN, which I think is great, is the new contract where they will keep games on. So 2 days to go before God of War. God of War is on sale in a couple of places. You need to just jump in, buy that, jump in for 2 seconds, and jump back, and you will have God of War in your library forever. I think that was a really smart thing which GFN have done there, and I would hope Boosteroid would be the same in that regard. They would have the same sort of contracts. But will games rotate out from Boosteroid? I would say there's a fair chance of it. That's to be completely and utterly honest with you. Okay.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Evening, guys. It's okay to have 4K 120, but if the cloud services are not going to get the bigger games, what's the point? I think that's in regards to in regards to Boosteroid and GFM. With Boosteroid have got a ton of great games on there at this moment in time. They've got Elden Ring. They've just added Final Fantasy VII Remake. What else have they got on there? There's some absolute bangers on there, as people like calling them.
Yeah, there is. There's some crackers. Absolute crackers.
Let me. Oh, you talk. And I'll have a wee look here.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't sure if you were going to carry on there. I was just going to say a very quick good evening to Jerry. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for jumping in. Yeah, obviously, I mean, I think when you look at a lot of the things in Boosteroid's library, they do have a number of big titles. They have a number of titles that don't sit anywhere else in the cloud as well. So there's, and I think this ties back into, something you particularly have been talking about, and I think a lot of people are starting to see that picture might be the potential that one gaming service isn't enough, because if you want to play a certain thing, you're going to play it in one area, but if you want to play something else, you're going to play it with another service or another another way of playing.
Yeah, it's becoming the battle of all the content is king, and that's why you see everybody buying up all these studios and everything's getting all in. With Boosteroid, they do have some games here. I'm just going to go. Everybody's going on by Fall Guys. Fall Guys is on Boosteroid. You've got FIFA on there. You've got Borderlands 3. You've got Final Fantasy VII Remake. You have WWE 2K22. You've got Football Manager. You've got God of War on there.
Lego Star Wars trilogy, or saga, I should say, not trilogy, because it's got all 9 in that.
Yeah, and on GFN have been picking up the games, big PC games as well, and the libraries are pretty decent across them. Boosteroids at this moment in time, I would be saying, is more console sort of games, big console games with a couple of big PC games like with Civilization and Football Manager, and GFN are targeting, you can see, the real PC sort of audience. But yeah, generally the point you do want these big games to push the 4K 120 and 4K 60 in GFN, or 1440 120.
Yep, no, absolutely, you definitely do.
Yes. What's the next one? Yeah, we'll discuss this. Stadia Pro's best month is disappointing one for Game Pass. Did you see the Stadia Pro games?
Yes, so I've seen... Hang on. Just flicking. So I've seen 1 or 2 of them. I know the Fast and Furious was tucked in there. I've just brought the list up actually now. I mean, it's not an exhilarating month, I don't think. if I'm honest, I don't look at it. The month where we had 7, where we had Kaze and the Wild Masks, and there was something else, I can't remember what it was now, but I actually think that was, I think I actually said I felt that was one of the best months that I'd seen Stadia Pro have, because they had games that I was like, actually, there's 2 games there that I wanted to play. Lumo, that's what it was. So Kaze and the Wild Mask, Lumo, kind of in that same period, and I really felt that was probably one of their strong ones. The list that I've seen here, the 6 that are coming in July, I mean, they offer a bit of variety, but I don't think it's a particularly blistering month. Oh,
sorry. My big flashing lights. I have to get my flipping light and all sorted out here. Stadia...
It's because you're trying to go with the beats, isn't it? You just want your flashing lights.
I did tell you what the music was going to be. It's not bad. It's not bad. Stadia Pro month, I think it's pretty decent. Just because of Five Nights at Freddy's. Will I play Five Nights at Freddy's? Yes, I'll be playing it on Friday just to get the coverage, but I will not be. I will not be touching it. For me, the month is there's nothing really standing out for me. Roadbook looks interesting and might give that a bit of a blast. but overall, I think it's yeah. But I know some people are thinking this is the best month ever or best month of the year. For me, the best month of the year was either January or February when Life is Strange dropped straight on the Pro. But compare it to Game Pass, to be honest with you, I would be playing more games in Game Pass. And I have been. If you look at Jing's games, and we're due another one next week where we're going to get into July. We know there's a couple of games coming up in July already, but we know about. Yeah. Everybody's gaming taste is different, and that's what you have to deal with when you're bringing this. For me, the problem with Stadia Pro is it's not quite a subscription service, and it's a halfway house. It's better than games with gold, but it's not as good as Game Pass or PlayStation Plus. Now it's sort of halfway. It's either you need to up the amount of games or do something else with it, lower the price, or I still Stadia Pro for me needs a bit of work, and especially with the charging for 4K now, I think that needs knocked in the head completely, and because it's not proper 4K and stuff like that. But we don't really want to go into a whole big thing about this, but I think it's a decent enough month. I can see it with Five Nights and Freddy's. I can see that can draw maybe some people into it, but I don't think for me it's pretty meh. Okay.
Fair enough. I would agree with that.
There's so many gaming handhelds coming out. Where do you start? I'm in my Steam Deck order, but I'm having doubts now with the new tech with that company, which I'm not going to try and pronounce. This is what I would recommend you. Steam Deck. That's it. Steam Deck. The reason why I'm saying Steam Deck over these other sort of handhelds is it's because Valve are developing the Steam Deck. Steam Deck is their baby. They are tuning that. They are getting everything pushed out to that. If you go out from that sort of ecosystem, yes, you might, the specs and stuff may be higher. Then you're into Windows, maybe being the operating system. Again, I think it's like Apple. Oh geez, this is going to be a bad one, isn't it? Apple design their products, and even though they're lower spec than the top-notch Android stuff out there, they work really, really well because it's all finely tuned to that. That's why I would recommend Steam Deck over that. And Steam Deck with GFN and Boosteroid go absolutely hand in hand. You play on the go on your Steam Deck. If you want to play on your PC or the bigger screens, you can just jump in and continue off on GFN or Boosteroid.
I'm not even sure that beyond what you've said, actually, there's much more to kind of add into that other than that would add any real value of note. I mean, obviously, yes, there are cheaper alternatives out there, but I think it's possibly going to be one of those, in line with what you've said, buy something that is well manufactured, finely tuned, and away you go. You'll probably be in the right ballpark. That's not to say that the other entries won't do a good job. I just think what you'll see is like your Steam Deck's almost going to be the top of the range. It's going to be like your Ferrari type thing, isn't it? So you can buy all the others, but then the Steam Deck's your Ferrari.
And what you'll find is probably the developers will be targeting the Steam Deck over the other sort of handhelds as well, and we're already beginning to see it with Steam Deck versions of settings and stuff getting pushed out to some games. Yeah, it's pretty good. Let's see. We're not answering any questions about Fall Guys going to GFM. Just put that out. You have to wait till tomorrow for the news update to find out. will bigger games come to GFN like GTA 5, Naruto, Storm, and yeah. All I can say is Nvidia are going out there. Their philosophy is they want every single game on GFN, and they are out there trying to get the games.
Yeah, absolutely, and they are they're pacing it as well, aren't they? They've obviously got strategic alliances, strategic partnerships that they get to a point where it's kind of like, are you ready to put your game here type thing. It's not all about rushing to get everything done as quick as possible. It's working with those strategic partners they've got extraordinarily good relationships with. And yeah, it does start at that scale of, the GFN team literally want every game on the service, when it's achievable, when it can be done. And then obviously you've got the other side where you've got the developers, the publishers, where they have got those strategic alliances, and it's about how they take that expectation on their side, and then obviously they work with them people and meet in the middle to get it on the service at a suitable time.
Yeah, it's we've heard some bits and bobs on how it goes down, and it's actually a lot. There's more to it than just going, ticking the box, and away you go. There's arrangements behind the scenes. It could be licensing issues and stuff like that. There's just a hell of a lot more than just doing that. That's why you see a lot of the smaller, I don't want to call them smaller games, but you know what I mean, the indie games where there's less paperwork to go through and dots and crossing of the T's and all that. They can just go, yeah, we want it on GFN, and away you go. I want to see, this just goes on to the point Shadow Dark made. I think 2K is coming. I still, that's the hill I'm going to die on. I think they're going to be coming at some stage, and they're going to be naughty and bring their own launcher. That's where I think they're going to go with that one. And Fet is saying, if you've got a PC booster for GFN, yep, you're in there. You're well covered.
Yeah, absolutely.
For those who don't have money for Bistro, we use the GFN free subscription. Yep, that is an option. You're not going to like what we say on our show on Friday if you're... We've got a show coming out on Friday. Members, if you're a member, you've already got access to it, where we're going through the GFN tiers, what we like about them and what we don't like about them. And the free tier gets a bit of a talking to there.
Yeah, but we are. In fairness, we are fair. What we say about it.
Yeah, I like that GFN are offering it, and we'll leave it there. But spoilers. Here's your spoilers. We sort of touch on it, on why the free tier is so limited. Like, it's because GFN and Nvidia don't make any money off that. That's going out from the goodness of their hearts, basically, trying to get paid for the upsell. It's not like Stadia, where you can buy games, and if you play Destiny 2 on Stadia, and that's all you play, but if you buy the expansions, you buy a skin, Stadia get a cut. If you do the same on GFN, GFN doesn't get that. So that's, we'll go into that in a bit more detail.
Yeah.
Barry, I think this is a question for you.
I think the most traditional and most conventional way that people have been achieving it has been by sideloading the APK. But I think the thing to say with that is, obviously, because it's not an officially supported app or an officially supported way of running it, you may well have visual flaws or kind of some performance glitches. You might find that it runs perfectly well for you, but there might just be times where it kind of behaves in a little bit of an unexpected manner, and that's purely because it's not a truly supported app in that format.
For people on the podcast, the question was, sorry, I should have said this before I pass it over. Will xCloud, what's the easiest way to play xCloud in the Infinity Shield? I think we're on the countdown now to the proper Android app being available on Android TV. I think there's going to be about 6 months, maybe a year's exclusivity on the Samsung TV, just because the Samsung app actually launches tomorrow. If you've got a Samsung 2022 TV, you'll have a new place you can go, which is Samsung Gaming, and you can get access to xCloud, you can get access to Stadia, GFN, and Atomic.
Yeah. Nailed it.
Nailed it. Yes, you can get access to them tomorrow on there, so it's really, really cool that. And I want to get a Samsung TV to try it out, to tell you the truth, but I can't justify it. It's really exciting time with Samsung doing that, making a whole big hub of it. It's really, really exciting. For people who don't know who all Atomic are, you should expect more casual games with a couple of AAAs and AA games in that. So it's when people say such and such a platform is for the casual market, this is 100% for the casual market. But some of the games are guilty pleasures of mine, so
that's you sold then.
Yes, that's me sold. Yes. Did you get an idea of Booster Roads? From my speaking with them, they're not expecting anything to leave in the short term. I guess it's about as far.
I think it's the fairest thing to say on it, isn't it?
Yeah, I did find it interesting that they've done their US launch and they have dropped some big name games on there after the launch. I think they're really beginning to gear up, which is absolutely class. 4080 here, I think that's going back to that. Racer X, thanks for joining. You said hi to Jerry. Hi, Jerry. That's a hi for me this time. What would you choose? A platform with a large library of AAA games but mid-tier graphic fidelity or platform? I'll let you go first.
I would go B, because I'd want to get the best out of the titles that are available, and also some of the best games I've played in the last 2 years have not been AAA games. The AAA goes one way or the other. It either falls flat or it lives up to its hype. And obviously, they can split people as to whether, not every AAA that comes out in a year has got 100% of the gaming audience going, oh my god, I want to play that. I mean, you might have God of War as an exception or something, but I bet even God of War, there'll be plenty of people that would be like, I'm not interested in it, I don't want to play it. I haven't got, So for that reason, I would say I want to max out what's available, and also, not every game has to be AAA.
I would choose C. I would use both, but if it's the choice between A or B, for me, I would be A every day of the week. For me, it is content is king. And if you've got basically most of the top AAA titles but mid-tier graphics, I would take that, and I would be pretty happy, or not happy is probably the wrong. If basically every single AAA game is going to a platform and it wasn't as graphically, or the graphics weren't turned up as much of another one, I would choose that platform because that's where the games are. And it's a very simple one for me. But if the game came to the higher one, I would play it on the higher one. It's what we say. I want every single game at this moment in time to go to GFM because that is the top tier. But if the games don't go there, I look elsewhere. And I think you're going down that route now, Anthony. You've ventured out, but we're not going to go there. Do we know the exact date for keyboard and mouse? It's just later this year. If you want to play keyboard and mouse now, you can. We've got a video on the channel which you can actually use to play with keyboard and mouse. It's a workaround, but it does work, and people seem to enjoy it.
Yep, that's a good way to do it if you want it now. Definitely.
Yep. Everybody's going for. I was right. I didn't even check this. Everybody's going for A so far.
I didn't check it either.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point here by Gandara. Gandara, thank you for joining. Some people don't want to watch AAA movies but prefer smaller movie studios. Games are the same idea. Absolutely. Games is all that matters. And we can just go to the.
I feel like that was a very wide, encompassing statement there. Games is all that matters. I love it. I love it.
You love it. You love it. It's like the Stadia Pro games for this month. They're complete range, and I know people who just play on Stadia will play every single one of them, and they will find an audience there, and people will go, I haven't played Rogue Brick before, I've never played roguelike card games. Like, who doesn't play roguelike card games? Like, come on. And they may go, they've played that, fall in love with that sort of game, and then broadens their horizons. And that's the beauty of subscriptions as well.
It is indeed.
Okay. Just moved on. Yes, I've seen that as well.
Yeah.
Let me see. Cloud validation, thank you for joining. Booster Ride is way too expensive. Their 4K 120 will end up costing 1K a year. They actually told us on our interview that it's either going to be just a slight increase or could be actually the same price as it is now.
Yep. Which obviously at the minute it's £90 a year. So as it stands.
Yeah. What games do you all recommend for a small phone screen? My eyesight is getting old and tired, just like me, Roger. What would you recommend?
That's a good question, actually. It's a really good question. You might have to come back to me whilst I ponder for a minute. Have you got an answer?
I'm just trying to think what I play on my phone. I Slay the Spire on xCloud. There's one. A lot of stuff on it. Played a bit of Turtles on my phone.
Yeah.
It's you wouldn't want a strategy game on your phone.
No.
But FIFA's alright on your phone. What else is? I'm just trying. I can't. I play most games on my phone, or I have done.
See, now I'm probably the exception to that because I've got my Fold, so I don't really game on a small screen when I'm on a mobile.
But what game do you play on your mobile?
I play literally. To be honest, I've played Fortnite, Rocket League. They're two favourites, and I've played Turtles on mobile as well. Forza I've played on mobile. Flight Sim I've played on mobile, so I've given stuff a real good go.
Yeah, there's only a couple of games I wouldn't, and it's like the big, like Humankind. That's on a various sort of platforms. I wouldn't play Humankind on my phone, even though they've got the funky wee controls. For me, that wouldn't be too good of a one. But it's them sort of games I would not recommend. But I think most games you could give a good sort of blast on your phone.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. Why do we think? This is a question for Barry, because you have you've got your theory, which I think you're 100% right with. So why do we think that EA is taking forever to get their library onto GFM? When they released Mass Effect Legendary Edition, I was surprised it didn't do Andromeda as well.
What's my theory, Duncan?
Can you remember what you came off with?
I'm having one of those days today, so you'll have to bear with me.
Started off and then you can continue. What Barry thinks, even though he's getting old and decrepit like me, is they don't want to flood all the games going on at once. Yeah. I've jogged your memory now.
Yeah, you have. Yeah.
You're going to continue?
Yeah. I think they very simply, they don't want to flood the or open those floodgates. I think they want to be able to use it to see what's actually being played, what lands well, what's running well, what people are enjoying, and kind of give a bit of a roadmap. Thank you very much, Cloud Validation. I think they want to be able to be in a position where they can kind of drip feed the library, because if they put everything on, they're done. That's it. Once they've done it and they put everything there, they've got nowhere to go. They've got nothing to offer, unless they commit to bringing day and date releases straight into the cloud.
Yeah, that's basically it. Drip feeding in means they can build it up and everything's not flooded. That's basically what I think now as well. I've lost my place, so I have.
We've done the small screen one. Where are we? I tell you what. Why don't we go with that one?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is disappointing. I'm expecting Booster Roy to drop it just now, because they seem to be dropping everything everybody sort of wants.
Yeah, well, yes, I would. I wouldn't put it past them to have it, but I completely agree. I am super disappointed that it is not in the cloud, because I'll be entirely honest, from a completely selfish perspective, it costs way more to buy it on a console than it does to buy it on PC. So I know that chances are, there's a part of me wants to buy it for PC in case it comes to the cloud and I can go, oh, okay, there we go, great, I'll just divert it and play it in the cloud. But inevitably, I think if the F1 games are anything to go by, they'll get to almost the end of the season or the end of the cycle, and then they'll drop it into something like xCloud via EA Play or something similar. But it is frustrating because, particularly for us, obviously, we used to do some mega events when we were over at Cloudy, where we used to do full race weekends with qualifying on a Saturday. We had a commentary team. We had two guys that did commentary. We did full quali on a Saturday and a full 100% race distance with a full grid on a Sunday, and we absolutely loved doing those sorts of events and putting those things on. And I'll be honest, it's one of the biggest drivers for us saying, actually, we want F1 2022 in the cloud because we want to bring it back. We want to bring it to the CGX channel. We want to be able to do it on a bigger scale. But
Yes,
obviously,
and I didn't finish last.
no, you didn't. You didn't.
And I got into the last round of qualifying.
The only thing I was disappointed with was I lost my crown because the first series that we did, I ended up as the top place content creator, and then I was holding and maintaining that record, and you can tell that this clearly hurt me, but I was holding and maintaining this record, and I made a reckless tyre choice in the last one, and I was still the top place content creator, and I went to a set of tyres that I should not have gone onto, and I crashed, and I put myself out of the race, and then that was it. I was done.
And you just want to talk about F1 because you are going to it tomorrow?
Not tomorrow.
Or Friday?
Friday. They have given a free tickets to Thursday, but there's not really a lot on, and I have to work, so... but I am there for the weekend.
Yeah, you're just like rubbing it in so much. Andy, thank you for joining. Stadia's had its best month in a long time. Let me see. And he's actually meaning it, by the way. Let me see. Do you want to pick something like there?
Yeah, I was just looking actually.
Some amazing discussions going there.
There is, yeah. The conversation is back and forth. It is brilliant.
Yep, I'm actually interested to actually see what the Atari games are going to play at. It's going to be fun. Mr. Urbanmer, maximum settings over GFM. Why? Because all the games are compatible. Yeah. You pay for your PC in the cloud. I wouldn't say all the games because there's still some little quirks coming out with that, but more or less all the games are compatible. Since we're talking about virtual PCs, we'll talk about Shadow. Shadow's got an event next week, so we may have a wee look at that and get a bit excited about that to see what they're going to be announcing.
Yes, indeed. Where are we?
Okay, let me see.
I'd like to pick that up. I'd like to pick that one up. And I don't know whether you want to start or
you can start that one.
Okay. So obviously,
do you want to relate the question first?
Yeah. I was just going to go into that. So I keep hearing you guys say GFN wants every game on their service. I think Stadia wants every game on their service too. But the big question is who's going to pay the bill? Which, absolutely. A lot of developers and publishers out there are like, hang on, we want the money. I think the obvious difference is the vast majority of the publishers out there are already putting their game onto Steam and Epic. So when it comes to GeForce Now, their route to market is minimal workload. GFL will do a lot of the heavy lifting, and they maintain 100% of the revenue, which is part of what you were saying about the free tier. The biggest obvious difference, or the biggest thing that I can say is, I will be honest, at this point in time, I'm not sure whether Stadia do want every single game. It's difficult for us to say because whenever we reach out to Stadia, they don't particularly... They're not keen on engaging with content creators, shall we say, or divulging information. So we wouldn't be in a position to say yes they do or no they don't, factually. But I think looking at where the service is, I don't think their aim is to have every game. I think they're kind of off on their own path. The only thing I can tell you, and the reason that we say what we say about the GFN guys saying that, is because we talk to them on a relatively regular basis. And it generally comes up in conversation, in terms of, because everybody has expectations of what games they want to see come to the platform. And, a lot of the people that are there and working with it are gamers. And they literally are like, do you know what? We love everything. That it's a genuine passion for games which drives them to be in that position. Whereas I still feel like Stadia is very technology driven. So I don't necessarily know whether it's about it. For me, it's more about showcasing the potential of what cloud gaming can do rather than having the endless catalogue and having every single game. It's like, actually, look what we can do with a piece of technology.
Yeah. Where am I going to go? I I think deep down Stadia wants every single game as well, but there's more technical hurdles to bring the game to Stadia because the developers want paid for bringing their games over to Stadia because there is a cost involved in doing the port. As you have touched on, to bring a game to GFN, Nvidia do a lot of the heavy lifting for them, and so that helps with that. Where Stadia, I know they're introducing the low cost porting tool, or low, whatever it's called, to lower the barrier down even more. That's the sort of genuine difference between Stadia and GFN. GFN, if you say, can we bring the game across, chances are they could bring it in a couple of weeks, if even if it take that long.
Yeah.
With Stadia, you have to make a Stadia build and you have to maintain it and all that down the line as well. So I think that is the sort of difference between the two. We'll move on.
Fair enough.
Cloud gaming is going to get fragmented. I just won't go on that more than cons. Absolutely, and we're already starting to see the start of it, and it is going to get worse before it gets better. What's going to happen? I think we're going to see hundreds, maybe, of these different cloud services, all doing different things, all getting different games. Let me see. I could probably list. Can I get into double figures here? No. Atomic?
I'll do
Stadia?
the counting for you.
Okay. Atomic.
Yeah.
xCloud, PS Now, GFN, Stadia, Black Nut Gaming, Boosteroid, Antstream, Shadow, maximum settings since I was in there. I'm probably missing. I've got into double figures already.
You got to double fingers. You made it.
Yeah. It's going to get worse. It is going to seriously get worse because we're going to see a lot of the smaller. We're going to see some of these really small ones do something and then disappear. I think there's just going to be a lot of flux, and I would be very wary of buying games in some places. If some random thing called Duncan's Cloud Gaming Streaming Service and you had a storefront there, I would be very, very hesitant in buying games there. I think subscription for these smaller sort of ones to start off with is going to be the safest option, unless you're an Xbox, a PlayStation, for the time being.
So what Duncan's saying is, don't buy any games from Duncan Games.
Yes, exactly. What do you guys think about Skull and Bones coming to Stadia? I think it's coming. It's Ubisoft. It's pretty much nailed on coming. I'm interested to see how it actually fares.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of people have got a lot of intrigue, with Skull and Bones, because it's a project that was kind of announced, disappeared off the face of the planet, wasn't spoken about for God knows how long, but always featured on a list of up and coming titles, and then all of a sudden, bang, it's here it is. We've got speculative, we've got dates, we've all that sort of thing.
Mention the date. We don't want DMC. We don't want DMC.
No. I'm not mentioning the date. I was just saying we've got speculative,
Dates.
all that sort of stuff.
November. Yeah.
But it's. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily for the game itself. I don't think it's about the game coming to Stadia. For me, I think it's about the game in general. Does the game itself? Yeah. Yes, it is my phone. Yeah.
Yeah. Chuck it out the window there. I thought it was my phone. I kept on going, is that my phone? Is that my phone? Yeah.
And if anybody from my work just seen me dismiss my phone to the side, it never happened.
The one that I'm actually interested in, which has completely dropped off the face of the earth, is is Avatar, because Avatar is meant to be coming out this year.
Yeah.
And we've heard nothing much about that. We're hearing all this stuff about Skull and Bones, but nothing about Avatar. Just real interesting. That. Oh, flip. I'll get to the next one here. Sorry, so much here. Cloud validation. I'll come on to that one in a second. I'm going to completely destroy people's dreams in that one. Look, do you think GFM will partner with more big game publishers like Bandai, Namco, Rockstar? Also, will PlayStation games come to GFM like Neo? Okay. Or where I've lost that. There we go. I think the publishers are a possibility. I think the PlayStation one's gone now.
Yeah. I would say within reason it's practically possible for vast majority of publishers or developers to be able to bring their game to the service, unless they have strategic alliance or it's a PlayStation studio.
Yep, I think the partnership is over and done with for the time being, unfortunately. Do you think Xbox will partner with GFM?
Do you know what? We've been talking about this for ages, and I think the key to a degree, they want their Game Pass wherever they can get it. So if they get Game Pass into Steam, and then have the ability to then push it into GeForce Now, I don't think it's an unrealistic goal. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, next week, next month, but I don't feel like it's totally unrealistic, because all they want you to do is be playing their games, or connected with their service, and they want as many people as possible to be in that arena. And there's some cracking games in their lineup that you think to yourself, if they actually put themselves in the position, there's games that you'd probably want the 3080 to showcase. Can you imagine running Forza? Can you imagine it? Yeah. Imagine that running on the 3080. Xbox would be like, that's what we wanted our game to do. That not saying that that's not saying it doesn't do what they want it to do on console. I just mean when you put it on a 3080, you're going to see it stretch its legs, and it's going to get into the PC market as well.
Yeah, I think Xbox is a possibility. It makes sense. It does the heavy lifting for them, and you can go, here's your PC games in the cloud here, away you go. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but it's one of them ones where I could not rule that out. What about the rumors of PlayStation and Sony joining Google Cloud and leaving Azure? cloud validation, I'm sorry to say that is completely false. The reason why the story was pulled from the website is because it was a fault with the game, which is Bloodstained. Bloodstained has code in it which relates to Stadia. It shows up on PlayStation, it shows up on Xbox as well. I think it shows up on PC. It's just hard coded in there. It is a little fault. I actually knew about that a couple of days ago. And I alerted a couple of people, and it was like, okay. And it's just caught up till today. I actually tweeted it. You can actually check my tweets. I actually tweeted about it a couple of days ago, but it's only sort of caught up now. But no, that isn't happening. Flipping heck, that's a lots of questions here.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
What games do you want on GFN tomorrow? Very, very clever. I want Bioshock.
I'm going to go with my one because we've already covered. But I'd love to see F1 2022 in the cloud.
Yep.
If I'm honest, that's what I.
Let me see. If Stadia, the GFL closed down, went out with MS and suddenly quietly brush up their crowd. I'm annoyed with you, Gandari, and I will finish the question first. Brush up their cloud gaming divisions and under the company go back to competing their first part of it, yes, they would, because you've got me to mention on live, because that is what PlayStation did. They gobbled up on live and Gaikai when they went. So they took their technologies with them for their cloud gaming divisions. I don't think they'll go back to competing with just consoles. Cloud is here, cloud is established now, and I don't think, especially for Xbox, that is a massive key market for them, because they are really pushing that out there, and it is now a way people actually game on Xbox now is through their phones and tablets and PCs when they're away. And Microsoft have led the scenes, and they're beginning to reap the rewards of that. I don't see GFN going away for a long time either. Stadia and Luna, I'm putting both of them, I would have more question marks over, but at this moment in time. What do you think, Barry?
No, I don't think they would. I mean, I think ultimately if Stadia, Luna and GFN all closed their doors, I think you probably have to say it's because Xbox won. I'm going to be brutally honest, because of the dedication and what they're trying to do with cloud native, and a variety of different things, how much they are pushing it, how much it's into their ecosystem. I don't think they would. I don't think there's any stopping them. I literally do not think there is any stopping them at all. PlayStation, kind of feel like PlayStation are probably 2 years. I don't know. I feel like maybe PlayStation are, in some ways, 18 months to 2 years behind Xbox in terms of what they want to do and what they want to achieve with cloud. So I think right now, yeah, I think if everybody else was to close their doors, it would be because we've got a standout competitor that says, there we go, job's done. If you want to play games in the cloud, that's the place that you want to play it, and that's how it would be. But I agree with you. I think in terms of those cloud services that I mentioned, I think from a Stadia perspective, that it's immersive streaming for games is the key focus. Luna, kind of feel like that'll just that'll be gobbled up into Prime. So you can watch TV and movies, you can listen to music, you can read books, you can listen to books, you can play games. Amazon Prime. I don't think that'll go anywhere. I think that'll just stay as it is. Even if they don't necessarily continue to push boundaries, I think that it'll just feed into that portfolio, if I'm honest.
Yeah, just while we're speaking on Luna, because I actually got to talk about Luna now, which always good. We can talk about anything. If you're in the States and you want to play Luna, the controller's on offer during Prime, so you can pick it up for $30. The controller, and I think we're starting. Okay, I need to touch. I think we are starting to see shoots of something coming out from Luna. They seem to be hiring a hell of a lot more people. They've been constantly hiring people, but there seems to be a steady uptick, and we're now seeing Luna hires in Canada. So I'm hoping we're going to see some expansion shortly with that. Let me see. We've got a question here. What is the most reliable cloud service for a Chromebook in order to play Warzone? You probably would have to go on to Shadow, or does the Shadow have a Chromebook app? You're double checking here. I don't think
Just
it's on
double check. I'm
Discord.
just double checking something.
So we'll come back to that one. Yeah. There's a real big push from Chromebooks into the cloud, and they're pushing GFN, they're pushing Stadia. It is really, really good to see that.
Sorry, I'm just checking.
This is the first time I'm not paying for any subscription. I'm actually by choice via Parsec. You can play the song someone else is hosting it. Okay, pretty cool. Let me see. Yeah. That's the big problem. Put it like this, I think you'll be able to play Warzone in the cloud soon enough. When Microsoft buys
definitely
Activision, so you might have to wait until then to get a different one, because you've just seen you've done that one. Just skipping down here.
I was just checking, sorry, because I know Boosteroid was available for some Linux distributions, so I was just checking whether it featured, but I don't think it's for remote. I don't think, even if you were running your Chromebook with a Linux enabled option, I don't think the versions for the client that they've got would work on it.
Okay. Would you recommend getting Shadow? Germany server, but live in Denmark. My ping on the website was around 32. 32 would be okay. It wouldn't be outstanding, but it would be definitely playable.
Yeah, I'd say so. But at that, I mean, I think there's plenty of people that's standard maybe for some of their ping responses from data centers. And they manage just fine. So yeah, I think that would be perfectly playable. I think we touched very briefly on Shadow last week. I think with the pricing for us, it makes it difficult for us to recommend based on the pricing that they've got.
Yep. Well, we've got the question. We've touched on that question regarding PlayStation and Stadia. Is there any way to play Warzone and GFN? No, there isn't. Yeah, so I'm just catching up to some of them.
I know, I was doing the same.
Do you think the publishers in the New York? No, they won't. Unfortunately, that will be an xCloud exclusive. For that, there's a chance it may go into PlayStation, and now there's a chance, but it won't make its way to GFN in the near term, unless, as we're hoping, Microsoft does do the deal.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to. I think I've caught up now.
I think we are caught up. I think we're all caught up.
We are caught up. So, thank you all for joining us. I'll just give a little rundown what's coming the rest of this week. Tomorrow is GFN Thursday, so you'll be able to check that out. On Friday, Xbox thing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
No, I'm trying to do it.
Yeah.
I'm just. We may have a bit of Xbox going into a bit more detail on the Xbox news of last week, where the new technologies they're using. So that should be with us on Friday. We're also going to be dropping the podcast on Friday, which is where we're going to go through all the 4 tiers of GFN.
The 4 tiers of GFN, yes.
The 4 tiers of GFM. On Saturday, we'll be dropping some gameplay, and on Sunday, we will have a bit of some more of the news. So it's a pretty packed one there.
It is indeed. It's another packed week, and yeah, we've already got stuff kind of planned into the week after as well. Little bits anyway. Little bits, which is good, and that's what we want. CGX is the channel. We're trying to make sure we're in a position where we're almost talking 2-3 weeks ahead, so we know what's coming, like a little bit further down the road, because we.
Oh, that's right. I just remember what you're talking about there.
So we're absolutely. I think, as I said earlier in the week, we're trying to take and kind of do the channel obviously justice and push it forward and bring as much variety of content in the things that hopefully you guys want to see. We're trying our level best. In amongst our normal daily working lives to keep everything consistent and make sure that you're seeing a piece of content from us at least every day in some way, shape or form.
Yeah, I think I've mentioned this already. We've got 3 interviews lined up with platform holders over the next week or so, which is going to be a bit mad. We know about we're speaking to Booster out again, so if you have any questions, just give us a bell for that. Let me see, I think I see another question there. I think if you get a current gen console and use remote play, you could rival cloud gaming. Your thoughts? It is the same for any sort of cloud gaming. It all depends on the connection you're getting.
Yep.
And yes, I have used that for my PlayStation and my Xbox. I use remote play. Sometimes it's worked absolutely well, and other times it's fallen completely on its face. For me, I think the pure cloud gaming is just a step ahead of it. What about you, Barry?
I think it's exceptionally good, and I think it gives you, if you're maybe say you want the freedom to be in different rooms in the house, or you want to tuck yourself up in bed and play games, and in your consoles in the lounge, it's perfect for that sort of thing. It's ideal, and it will give you, I would say, an equal or on par experience, provided your network at home is up to scratch.
Yeah. So with that, we will end that. If you like what you're saying here, just like, subscribe, and if you really want to help us out more, you become a member. We are going to be dropping some game codes to members this week, and maybe something else as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you all again soon.
Indeed. Catch you later, guys.
Bye.